Hello guys, welcome to Daddy Share Space and welcome to my shop. So recently I unboxed the 3.5-inch aluminum delve square from Woodpeckers. Here I'm coming to you with another unboxing. This is going to be the delve square stainless steel 3.5 and it comes with the racket. Let's go ahead and open it up and take a look and see what it has to offer. So opening the package up here. You just got some paper on top. You do have your racket right here. You've got some directions. And then finally, you have your stainless steel delve square. And we'll pull it out of the box and take a little bit of a closer look. So it comes in this plastic bag here. Let's go ahead and open that up. Take a look at it. I'll put the racket to the side. Okay, so this is the stainless steel delve square. Now this particular square has quite a few upgrades over the previous one that I unboxed. Now this one it has labels on it. So you have different types of, so you've got this aluminum shoulder and then the stainless steel blade. You have your graduate of holes going up the blade. This is 3.5-inch blade, giving you the ability to describe lines on your work. You have the measurement across the base. You have your angles that you can find on this particular device. Now it looks like the aluminum base is bolted in here. Now right here you have a 1/4-inch step. So if you see, it kind of tapers down right here to a 1/4-inch step. So you could utilize that to set saw blades, drill bits and such there. And then if you turn it over on the other side, and this right here, this side is a 1/2-inch step. And then up here in the front, you've got a 3/8 inch step. And then you also have a variation on the base here where this is narrower than the other side, which all of these are different types of marking gauges. So like if you don't want to buy like setup blocks, there are multiple setup blocks built into the base of this particular square. So it gives you a lot of functionality here. Let's take a piece of wood out here. Let's say I want to scribe down my piece here and I want to start I want to do a 3-inch line. I can just do that here. Going down my work, I can come down to 1.5 and scribe a line. I can go to 1 inch and scribe a line respectively, so you can mark your material like that. If I come over here, butting the device up to the work, let's say I want to do a 20-degree angle. What I can do is I can tilt it to the 20-degree mark, and then this line right here will be my 20 degrees that I will be able to utilize in whatever measurements I need. Obviously you already have your 40, your 90, you have your 45 that's already built and set into the settings here. Now depending upon what type of workpiece you're working with, the step on this piece of wood, or this the steps on this particular device, gives you the ability to mark your wood if you want to set out like dado type marks. It'll give you the ability to mark everything up, and you'll know what material you need to cut out in the center based upon how you want to place this on your work. So like say for instance, if you want the center of the board, you're going to use the thicker portion and draw a line, turn it over onto the other side and draw a line, and either the line is going to be right on top of each other, or there's going to be a small space, and the space in the center is going to be the exact center of the board. Now, like I said, if you're going to do for mortise and tenons, you would use the other portion, which is going to give you a space on the inside. Let me hold that straight there, on both sides, and then you'll cut out the material in the center to be able to access, basically it's a marking tool for giving you the ability to cut out mortise and tenons on stuff like 3/4-inch stop. You can use the stainless steel 3.5-inch delve square to set the height of your table saw blade, and you can also use it to make sure that your blade is set at 90 degrees. You can also check that your table saw blade is at 45 degrees using the same tool. Router bit adjustments can be quickly adjusted using the 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, and 1/2 inch setup blocks built into the base of the square. Additional measurements can be obtained by using the vertical scale on the back of the blade of the square. All right, so here we've got the stainless steel delve square, as you can see. As I mentioned before, 3/8 step, 1/2 inch step, 1/4 inch step, and then this is a 1/2 inch step as well. So the base, like on the other delve square, you've got a 1/4 inch on this side, 3/8 on the other side. So let's just go over what it does. So if I'm going to mark in the center of a board, I'm going to use the 3/8 step. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to come back on the other side. And I'm going to keep it butted up, obviously, and draw a line. And essentially, in this line, because I'm using this thicker tip pencil, essentially right in the center, I have my mark. So let me try that one more time. Let me erase it and do it one more time. Brighten it up there. So I'm going to take the 3/8 part of the square, set it on top, and I'm going to make a line. I'm going to flip it over on the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. And being that I'm using this Festool pencil, which has a thicker lead, it's giving me the exact center line of the board. Now, if I remove this line as best I can with this eraser, you can still kind of see it a bit. But if I use a pencil like this is like a 0.5 lead, and I do the same thing. I mark it on one side, I turn it around, and I mark it on the other side. It's actually still giving me a center line. So yeah, this particular board, I believe, is narrower than the previous board that I used because I'm getting the exact center line with this base here. So I'm thinking the panel that I used before, which was this piece of poplar, when I would do the center line, there would be a gap in the middle, but this is giving me dead on center when I use the 3/8 mark. Now, on the flip side of that coin, let's turn the board around. And let's use the 1/4 inch side and see what kind of a reveal it gives us. So right here, we've got the 1/4 inch side here. And I'm going to use the Festool pencil because it's going to give me a little bit of a darker line. All right, so you see my line here. I'm going to come back over on the other side and do the same thing. And you see that we have this gap in the middle. Let me go ahead and cross off a couple sections if you can see here. All right, so you see we've got this part here, and I'm gonna go ahead and split it in the center. And just like I explained in my previous video, so this is for mortise and tenon layout. Now, what I could do is I can use one side for the mortise, one side for the tenon. So let's say this is going to be my mortise. I'm going to use a router or a chisel or something to hollow out this material. I'm going to mortise this section. But then when I want to make my tenon, I'm going to use my router or whatever device to remove the material on the outside. And that's going to create my perfect tenon here to fit within this mortise here. So just like the aluminum delve square, 3.5 delve square, this has the same features to be able to mark the center of your board as well as to lay out mortise and tenon joinery on 3/4 inch stock. Now you could use it on larger stock. It's not just for this, but it's just going to have the reveal of the 3/8 and or 1/4 inch using this particular device. Now setting the board out on tabletop here like this, just giving a demonstration again of the angles. Let's get you a little bit closer. So if I want to go to 20-degree angle, I'm going to rotate this down to 20, and right now I have the line that's right here at 20, and I'm going to hold it down. This will be easier with the stair gauge, and that's going to give me my 20-degree line there. And then if I want to do, let's say, a 40-degree line, I'll pull it all the way over to the 40, and that's going to give me my 40-degree line. Now we have the same thing, 1/8 inch holes all along the blade of the device here, as you can see. Now the thing is with this is the Festool pencil. I cannot use this with this particular device. It doesn't go all the way through. I'm going to need to use like a 1/2 inch lead or something smaller. I think 0.7 will work. And then, not 1/2 inch, sorry. 5mm to 7mm lead is what's going to be required in order to mark with this device. So I'm going to put my pencil down in here, and I'm going to scribe along the workpiece, and I can move to any increment and make a line. So as you can see, you can make markings all throughout this device, 1/8 inch centers all along your board. So it's an excellent marking tool. And then I think I'm going to set it up so that we can try it as a gauge for the router, because that's something that I did not do with the other Delft square, the 3.5 inch Delft square, the aluminum version. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do is use the blade of this stainless steel Woodpecker square, and I'm going to use it. It is 1/8 inch thick. I'm going to use it to set the depth on this Festool 1010 router. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, if we look at the gauge, I'm going to put it down to 0, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the router bit, which, let's just take it for what it is. I have the router bit set in there. I'm going to push it all the way down to the table. So I'm touching the table. I'm going to tighten this up. Once I get that tightened, I'm going to set whichever one of these posts that I want to use, and I'm going to loosen this and drop this all the way down. And then what I'm going to do is set that as 0. So this is now my 0 mark on this particular router. All right. Now I'm going to take my stainless steel blade. I'm going to lift it up and set it inside here. And that on the scale raises me up to 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to tighten it. And what that's going to give me the ability to do is, once I unlock the router, when I go down to depress the router, it will now proceed down further, and it will close this gap. Let me just lift it back and show you. And it will touch, which means that this router bit has dropped 1/8 of an inch down, according to the blade of this device, which is a 1/8 inch thick blade, which can be used as a 1/8 inch setup block for your router. That's just another feature that you can get with this stainless steel Woodpecker square. Right here I have the 3/8 step, and I can set it on here. And so let's do that again. So I'm going to depress the router to 0. I'm going to lock the router. Then I'm going to loosen this. The scale is back to 0, right? I can move this up and down. I got it at 0 now. So I am now going to take the 3/8 portion of this step, and I'm going to lift this up, slide this in, and let it drop. And now, according to the scale here, I'm at 3/8. I'm going to tighten that up just at that portion. And now you see there's a 3/8 gap right here based upon the step on this device. And so now when I release the router. When I go to plunge, it is going to depress 3/8 to touch that post there. We'll do this one more time with the 1/2 inch. So again, we will release this, and well, first and foremost, we're going to lower the router all the way to the table, which is going to zero out the router. And then with that release, we drop this down. This is loose, this is back to 0. I'm going to take the 1/2 inch portion of this base, and I'm going to use the thicker 3/8 side, and I'm going to slide it in here if it'll fit. Let's see if it'll fit. It might give me some trouble because of the rest of the device here. Let's try to slide this up. Okay, yeah, I got it in there. And then now I'm going to slide this down, and that puts me at a 1/2 inch, and actually, yeah, it's close to a 1/2 inch. It's a little bit more, but I think it's because it's difficult to get this inside of here because of the blade. The blade is actually kind of blocking it from getting all the way in there. So this would probably be more applicable for a regular square setup block, but if you wanted to use it in a pinch and say you wanted to be somewhere around this 1/2 inch mark, you could stick it in there, you lock it in, and then once you unlock the router, as I said before, when you push it down, now it's going to go down 1/2 of an inch, or roughly 1/2 of an inch, because when I look at it on the scale, it looks like it's just above a 1/2 an inch, and I'm thinking that's because this was a little bit cocked up underneath there, because you don't have a lot of material to rest on. So that right there is a reason why, like, if you wanted to have like consistent results across all your work, it may be a good idea to invest in a setup block set, which I do plan on picking one of those up in the future. Woodpeckers is like over $500. Bench Dogs is substantially cheaper, but it only comes with the metric versions. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to display, wanted to show you how the Woodpeckers 3.5 inch Dell square can work as a setup block with a router. So anyways, it's just a small unboxing of this stainless steel Dell square. I wanted to go ahead and hurry up and unbox it because I want to be able to utilize it in some of my projects. And yeah, that's why I bought it, is to be used. And of course, since I'm doing a YouTube video, I want to go ahead and put this video out showing you that I have it here in the shop, and that way that gives you the ability to ask questions if you have any in the future. Thanks for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you in my next one.